welcome back. Today is not a good day for me when it comes to my Kraton ExB. I'm at the point with this RC, and I'm going to show you what I mean by I'm at the point where I don't want to work on this thing no more. It's been driving me so crazy having to work on this ExB constantly. Every time I take it out, anytime I do anything with it, thinking, okay, this time I got it solved. You know, rear diff issues. Last time I took it out, after getting the new warranty diff from Armma unannounced, it just kind of showed up one day. Luckily, you know, the package wasn't stolen and I actually got it. I went ahead and did a whole video on putting it in. Took it off Big Bertha. One light jump, came around to do another one and noticed a pretty bad noise. So I was like, well, that's kind of strange. Ran it up and down and making a very bad gear noise. And so I stopped running it because I didn't want to do any more damage to anything, because I'm just sick and tired of spending money on my ultimate basher when my V4 works perfectly fine, and I've done a lot worse with that. It's been off Big Bertha several times. It's outperformed this ExB in every way, and I was just over it. So went ahead and stopped running it, came back, and I didn't even do a video on the inspection, but I'm going to show you what happened. And I tried to temporarily repair it so I can run it, but nothing happened. So you notice right here, I've got a pretty big oversized bolt in there. The other three are standard, but this one right here on that landing off Big Bertha, it pulled and broke the diff case right in this corner. And the cover came loose, and when the cover came loose, it stripped the ring gear, along with now the pinion gear's damaged. So this whole diff, now that the gears inside the center diff are held, as far as I could tell, I've now stripped a ring gear. So this complete rear diff housing is no good. Now, if you really want to know how to set up your ExB or your V5 or V4 Kraton, I should say, go check out Bars and Tone. He has a lot of great videos, and his seems to be lasting now, but he's had to put a lot of work into his diffs. One of them being, when he got his new diff, he put a Hot Racing rear diff case in his ExB. I'm not understanding it, because it's like, this is the ExB, you know, it's not supposed to need diff upgrades. It's not supposed to need all this stuff that my ready to run V4 just didn't have any issues with. And now it seems like my ExB roller has just been getting tore up. And the last time out, I ran it on 6S, not even 8S. So I'm just not understanding it. And it was a 1.6S pack in this thing, even though I have a Mamba Monster X 8S in here, and I have a Hobbywing motor now. It didn't even handle 6S. So this is, I gotta say, out of all my Armmas, this thing has been the worst ever. I've had this thing so long and just no runtime in it. You know, I've got all the best electronics in this thing. I've had to do so much work to this darn thing, stripping out wheels, having to replace wheels because the hexes are eating this thing up. Like, you know, I don't know what else to do, you know. This thing ate a front wheel, had to buy 2 new wheels. Now, you know, I had to buy a complete rear diff, and I believe that's what's in this now. So let me pop this bag open. And see what we got here. So it says ExB. It's an open diff. This was built by somebody. It says +1/shim. So it has 1 shim in it, I guess is what they're telling me. So somebody built this, packaged it up, found it on eBay. It was a lot cheaper than getting one from Armma. So this thing's supposed to be all updated and repaired, and not supposed to have any center diff issues. That's why it has no label on it. So it is an open diff, but it's funny. Right there's a real hard spot, and then soft, hard spot, soft, hard spot, soft, hard spot, soft. Man. See, it stopped and my diff is turning. Look at that. Right there. Got a hard spot in it. Diff cases suck. It's all greased and ready. It's supposed to be a drop-in, and it's supposed to solve all my issues. But I'm just not sure. But I don't want to buy a hot racing diff housing at this point, you know? All the bolts feel tight to the cover. Got no slop left to right. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this diff out. I'm gonna throw this one in. I'm gonna send it like it is. And if I have any more rear diff issues, I'm done. I'm not gonna buy a hot racing rear diff cover at this point. Not until I can get some runtime out of this RC on 6S. I mean, if I want to go 8S and that kind of stuff, I can see upgrading all this stuff. But, you know, I'm probably going to pull out these electronics as well and just put in a standard 6S system. Basically a V5 system I'm going to throw in this. And if it doesn't last, again, this will be the first RC that I ever sell. So it's to that point where I feel like just selling the darn thing, you know? So we're going to get the rear of this thing all ripped apart. And so if you guys want to see this, this is how to change a rear diff on your ExB. As a complete assembly, not going into it. We're just going to swap out the whole diff to replace your diff housing. And we're going to go that route. I do want to run an open rear diff. Now remember, I locked this thing up. And when I had this thing locked up, meaning not open, I just put a locker in the rear of this. I bashed this thing on 8S for, I want to say 5 or 6 or 7 full packs through this RC with no issues. Now I did bend some drive shafts, and I thought that's maybe why, I don't know. why I had so many problems. So I went down on the electronics, went down on the battery voltage, and remember, I never broke this thing with my locker in it. I just stopped running it at that point because I didn't like the way it handled with a locker, and I wanted the open diff in the rear. This thing handled amazing with the open diff in the rear, and I loved it that way. And I wanted that first unboxing day where I threw electronics in this thing and ran this thing on 8S and 6S. It was such a great experience that my V4 just didn't give me. And I wanted to experience that again. And that's why I've been pouring money into this thing, and time and money. And I mean, you guys, you can go back and watch the videos. I've done more to this RC, and I've done more wrenching on this RC than I have on most of my other RCs. Just finished my Limitless GT build. All decaled up, all ready to go. So we are going to be getting that thing out soon. But let's get into to doing this diff. All right, let's get into this thing real quick. I don't have a lot of time to waste on this. If you don't have a pair of blunt nose, get yourself a pair of blunt nose pliers. Definitely worth it. So I'm going to pull the pins, release these control arms. That wasn't the right bit, the first one I grabbed. I normally don't take out these bolts right here because they are for the sway bar. I just take the sway bar off, but I need these bolts and this sway bar cover now for the new diff. Just gonna flip that around. It's just not holding anymore. Wonder if I have a new sway bar end. So have to remove the body post so that I can get to the shock tower brace that goes from front to rear. So I got to pull the two bolts over here. Top and bottom. Get the brace off. Should have just pulled it as an assembly. Rear wing bolt is shorter. There's our diff. Now, what I'm going to have to do is transfer this piece onto there. So as you see, I'm not even opening up the diff case, diff cover, nothing. But let me show you where this thing cracked. So if you guys can see, right in here, where all the threads were for that bolt, it literally cracked it, and the bolt fell out and was gone. This side's still okay, but the side the ring gear is on, it cracked it. Cover got loose on this side. This started wobbling up and down, so I cranked in a bigger bolt all the way to the end. You can see it split pretty much the whole bolt area, all in here, right in here. Cracked everything right here, and literally pulled that bolt out, and this diff got loose. So case is no good, ring gear's no good, bunch of stuff's no good now on a brand new diff. Now I can buy a ring gear and a pinion and do all that, but just picked up a complete assembly with the spiral cut gears in it for the ExB. So that's the route I went. All right, got this piece put on here. Now we're going to get the diff put back together. My table's getting too crowded. grease all over my hands. Really frustrated working on this diff. Or working on this ExB, I should say. Not really the diff. It's this piece of junk Kraton. But everybody knows how I feel, so let's see if I can lock this in now. There we go. Now it locked in. For some reason, my bits keep getting jammed. Now that I got that in there and the diff mounted down solid, I have a new sway bar end. As you see, it cracked. So this is the same as the Limitless. So I do have the Limitless bag with all the Limitless stuff. So I have a rod end or a sway bar end link we're going to throw in here. And then I'm going to put my pins in. But I need the drive shafts on. Come on. One. Let's get the other drive shaft in here. The other pin. That had to be the hardest one I've ever had to put on. Grabbing the wrong tools every time. Let's see. That one needs to go in there. Sway bars on. I've learned don't over tighten these things. All right. Now let me get, my house is burning hot because the kids had the washer and dry going. that. Need to get the wing in here. And apparently, those bolts are bent. That one. And we need the spacers. And then the other bolt. And then 2 more bolts on the bottom. Tighten up those 2. There we go. ExB Diff is done. Tired of working on it. But there we go, guys. Swap out a complete diff. No more broken rear diff, and we'll see how long this one lasts without buying a hot racing rear differential. But thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.